Welcome back aboard Arabella, on the way south down the Intercoastal Waterway. This week, Arabella starts just south of Norfolk, Virginia, at the entrance to the historic Great Dismal Swamp.
Your license is southbound coast. I'm going to give you open answers having some problems up here. Give me a few moments.
I've been told a lot about the Great Dismal Swamp. I've been told not to go, that it's too shallow and we won't make it. I've been told to go and it is incredible and that we will love it. And that is my take. I think it's going to be incredible. I think we're going to love it, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. We've been just going as quick as we can go, trying to make miles, and now that the weather is starting to get a little bit nicer, and we're into the ICW on the Dismal Swamp, we really just want to slow down and enjoy it.
The lockmasters at either end of the canal were great sources of info, and were more than happy to answer questions while Arabella slowly rose in the lock.
Thank you, we will.
All right, you ready to go up 8 or 9 feet?
Yeah, this is super cool.
Arabella's first lock.
Honey, do we have an Acorn to Arabella sticker?
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Up and away. And the gates open to the Great Dismal Swamp. I think this is the thing I'm most excited about taking this route, is going through the Dismal Swamp.
We did our first lock.
We did our first lock.
That was super cool.
Ben texted, and apparently, according to his AIS Google mapping, we are near a Waffle House.
I mean, that's a sign of being in the South.
That's a sign of the South. I've never been to a Waffle House.
We don't need to go.
We don't need to.
Hey, Arabella, I'm in the bridge house now.
Great.
And as soon as I get the right traffic lights, I can go up for you guys. Crane crew already said it was cool if I go off, so just waiting on that green light.
Roger that. Thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah, nobody's in the canal right now but you guys. And like I said, as soon as you come past the bridge here, there's a wooden bulkhead. Just past there is a little low concrete wall where you can tie up to go to the grocery stores and stuff.
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much for everything.
Here, you guys have a great day.
There it goes. Woohoo! Woo! That was easy. I was nervous.
Were you really? I couldn't
Shut up. Oh. It's just right here. Awesome, thank you. All right.
Thank you so much. Told you we'd catch it. All right. So we got through the lock. We got past the bridge. We got tied up to this dock, which was moderately tricky. We both got some work done. I responded to an insane amount of emails.
And I took an insane amount of sales calls.
And Akiva kept the bunk nice and warm. He napped while we worked.
That's a boy.
But word on the street is there is a grocery store within walking distance. So we're gonna go take Akiva and go see if we can grab some provisions and go for a little explore. And then we're gonna make our way deeper into the Dismal Swamp. I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, let's go.
There's a sailboat over there.
It's an unassuming spot for there to be a canal.
Yeah, no kidding,
Able
huh?
to accommodate a sailboat is such a thing.
Before we departed Maine, I picked up the charts and the cruising guides for everything down the eastern seaboard. So if we jumped offshore, we were prepped, and if we were stuck inside on the ICW the whole way, we were also prepped. This is from the cruising guide, and this is how they describe the Great Dismal Swamp. The Great Dismal Swamp Canal is an alternative route south unlike any other. It was first envisioned in the 1700s by politicians and entrepreneurs, including George Washington. Back then, the canal was seen as the means to an end to transport Atlantic white cedar destined to be cut into shingles out of the sprawling surrounding swampland. Washington had hoped to drain the swamp and farm it, but the scheme did not succeed. The real money was in the trees. Work began in 1793 and more or less finished up in 1805, providing a sheltered route between Norfolk and North Carolina. Today, the canal is a National Historic Landmark that is used mostly by recreational boaters, about 2,000 per year. The water primarily comes via the feeder ditch from Lake Drummond at the swamp center. In times of drought, the canal may be closed to boat traffic. The route commonly contains sunken logs and other debris. The faster you go, the more damage these objects can inflict. Additionally, a larger vessel immediately ahead of you may kick up debris that will foul your prop. Remember too, the lock and bridges are mostly unscheduled openings, so hurrying between them is unproductive. Moreover, wind-driven currents and crosswinds make waiting for an opening a dicey challenge. The Great Dismal Swamp Canal route has a centerline controlling depth of 6 feet, and your speed is limited by your ability to produce no wake, usually 5 miles per hour for the canal proper. Stay at least a quarter mile from any vessels in front of you to decrease the potential for mishaps. Be alert for barges, which need plenty of room, and keep a lookout for flotsam. If you look at the maps for the Great Dismal Swamp, there's this big lake in the middle of it, and there's a feeder ditch that runs into the canal. And I've been told that if you tie up to a dock near the feeder ditch, you can take your tender up and go to the lake and go check it out. I am like stupidly excited for this.
I know, I love it.
It's 3 miles to get there, 3 miles back. So we've got both tender batteries fully charged and the oars. And got my little pole saw. I don't know if we're gonna have to clear some brush. I've heard some rumors about it getting a little choked at times, but we'll see. I can't imagine hand digging all of this. Those poor, poor people. It's pretty mind-boggling to think about this 22-mile-long canal being hand-dug by slaves back in the day. It's really kind of a somber experience to go through the canal and to think about those poor souls being forced to dig this 22-mile-long ditch through a swamp, pulling stumps and doing it all by hand. I can't imagine how difficult, uncomfortable, painful, bug-ridden that experience must have been. For Robin and I, being from Massachusetts, we learn about slavery, but it's not something that we witness the history of on a daily basis. And to be far enough south where we're traversing a canal that was dug by slaves, and then slaves used that canal that they dug to escape into the swamp and try to flee north for their freedom, is very, very somber experience. Look at that.
Yeah, it's really wild.
So neat to be getting places with different flora and fauna. We got nothing like this back home. Alrighty, you ready?
Yep. Alright, and then...
Oh my God, so much easier
So
going.
much easier. Downhill, what a gift.
So we were coming down the canal here, and we left Arabella tied to a dock at the feeder ditch. Took Vicky up the ditch and kind of explored Lake Drummond a little bit. You can see these are all ditches that are all dug to drain the swamp. Bears! Yeah, we actually found some bear scat. Went for a little walk up the road here with Akiva, and there's a whole bunch of it along the road, along the edge of the field. But this is nothing new. We got bears back home. Robin and I have had plenty of runs in with them. Be cool to see one though. I would say the Dismal Swamp lived up to the good reputation that I have heard. We bumped bottom one time leaving a dock, which I think had more to do with me staying a little too close to the shore than the actual depth of the canal. And we bumped once when we left the lock at the end of the canal headed towards Elizabeth City. And the lock tender even told us the water was down 1 or 2 feet because of the way the wind was blowing. It was blowing all of the water out of the river and out to sea. So she warned us when we left that we might hit a little shoal spot and we might bump for a second, and that's exactly what happened. We bumped for a second and we're right along our way. We drafted almost 6 feet and we didn't really have any issues at all traversing the Dismal Swamp. And if you are doing the ICW and you're trying to decide on a route, I would highly recommend it. We had a really great time. The visitor center was awesome. The only thing that I would really say is if you end up at one of the locks and you need to stay the night before they open like we did, it was really handy to be prepped to stern anchor and keep us on the side of the canal for the night and not swinging around. But other than that, I think it's definitely worth doing. When we asked for advice going south, Elizabeth City was a place that was mentioned by a few different folks for having some amenities and some free docks for 48 hours for transients. and that is directly south of the Dismal Swamp Canal. So we popped out of the Dismal Swamp and came down to Elizabeth City, and it touts itself as the harbor of hospitality. And so far on our journey, I would say they can stake that claim. Elizabeth City has been a really great place to visit. It's all decked out for the holiday seasons, cute little storefronts, and a seawall and some slips that you can tie up to for up to 48 hours for free right in downtown. And that's not something that you see super often. It's not something that we've seen a ton of on our journey. So if you're considering a trip north or south, I highly recommend the Dismal Swamp Canal. I highly recommend a stop in Elizabeth City. I don't think you'll regret it. And if you do that route, there's free dockage from Elizabeth City right up through the canal. So go check it out. Don't think you will be disappointed.
Doesn't get more idyllic than that.
No, cold day to be out.
Cold day.
What do you think, shall we?
Yeah, it's gonna be a long day. Let's get this party started.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Oh, we got the tree. It's been a nice morning.
What do you think, Akiva? I'm gonna do some sailing?
You want to go back to bed too? It's 5 p.m. on Christmas Day, and I just put Arabella up on a stump or a tree or dead head or whatever you want to call it. We're stuck. We couldn't get into the anchorage we were shooting for tonight. The winds were just much stronger than forecasted, and we had to start heading up the Pango River. And Steve saw a cool little little outlet that we were going to try to anchor across, and he jumped in the tender and started rigging up some intricate system. But he had sent me upriver and told me to turn around, and I guess I hung a little too wide to make my turn, and I got hung up on something on the edge of the river. I'm bummed because I was following his tracks from when we turned around earlier, so I was hoping there was nothing to worry about, but I was off by just enough to hit something. So Steve's got a plan, and the boat's not leaking, and we're safe, and everything's okay. But just a bummer end of the day.
To try and pull Arabella off, Steve took the 45-pound anchor off the stern and set it upstream. This is called a kedge anchor, and it's the first time Steve had the opportunity to set one up. Attaching it to the winch, they tried to pull it off the stump, but the boat didn't budge. Secure enough for the night, they went to bed, and in the morning, Steve tried another approach. He ran the peak halyard all the way to shore and secured it to the trees. Back on the boat, he was able to use the halyard to heel the boat over, while again trying to slide Arabella back using the kedge anchor. After a while walking it back and forth like this, Arabella started to move.
Oh my God, we're moving. Oh, I was so nervous.
I think we're off the bank.
Oh.
Woo! Yep. Okay. Cool.
My heart's just going pitter-patter. Pitter-patter.
That was a real grounding.
That was real.
That wasn't like we came in at low tide and sat in the mud. That was a real honest to God up on the hard grounding.
All right, no more turning around in this canal. Please. Please don't make me.